So it's 11:30. Let's start our webinar. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar that I hope will give you some keys to explore new way of improving your infusion process. My name is Myriam Faure. I'm communication manager for Chomarat, and I will be your guide during this webinar. Some recommendation before starting. First, thank you for keeping your microphone off and also your camera. Two, if you have any questions during the presentation, please use the chat room. We'll take some time at the end of the presentation to answer you. We are pleased to host this event in collaboration with Institut de Soudure, a group, and Composites Academy. I would like also to thank Beneteau Group for sharing with us their experience and data. I give the floor now to our speakers who will introduce themselves.
We cannot hear you, Vincent.
Sorry. Hello, everybody. My name is Vincent Cholvy, and I am in charge of glass composite business at Chomarat.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gaëtan Mouton. I'm R&D project manager at Chomarat Group and customer technical support.
Hello, everyone. Jérôme Renal. I am from Institut to the group, and I am the aeronautic and composite director, and I will present also in the name of Composite Academy today.
Thank you, Vincent, Gaëtan, and Jérôme. Now, a brief introduction to Chomarat for people who don't know us. So Chomarat is a family-owned textile group founded in 1898 with four main business units: composite reinforcement, construction reinforcements, coating and films, and garment manufacturing. It's 9 industrial sites in 4 countries: France, United States, Tunisia, and China. It has a market presence in 25 countries, mainly through distribution. It also employs 1,000 people around the world. Let's start now with Gaëtan Mouton from Chomarat.
Thank you, Myriam, for the quick introduction. We are going to talk about the status of infusion process and what are the potential solutions to improve it. Please, Myriam. Yes, thanks. Infusion process can be described with 3 key points. First, it's a closed mold process, meaning no VOC will be liberated during the infusion. Second, it's dedicated to medium to large parts. Due to the number of steps to prepare an infusion, it's not really relevant to small parts. On the other side, infusion can be used for virtually unlimited parts, such as boats, wind blades, etc., etc. And third, infusion is used for small to medium production runs. The setup can be quite time-consuming, so it's not possible to really use it for really high cadence production. Infusion can be performed with 2 different methods. First, by using an external flow medium, which is going to be peeled off the part afterwards. This process allows for high fiber ratio, hence high mechanical performance. However, it generates more waste. Second, we can use an internal flow medium. This method allows for less waste because the flow medium stays in the final laminate. In some cases, fiber ratio is lowered compared to the previous method. So now let's focus on the infusion with internal flow medium only. 3 different flow mediums can be used. First, CFM, consisting of continuous fibers randomly orientated in multiple layers. The glass fiber is bonded with a silane coupling agent and the layers held together with a suitable binder. Permeability of this flow medium is high, but mechanical performance is pretty low. We can use a mixed solution glass synthetic or 100% synthetic flow medium. The benefits of the permeability of the synthetic mesh is associated with the performance of the glass fabric which is binded to. In this case, the global mechanical properties are lowered by the presence of the synthetic mesh within the laminate. Finally, we can use a pure glass structural medium, which allows for good permeability while keeping the mechanical properties to a high level. Now, let's see how to optimize an infusion. There are 3 levers to activate to optimize this process. Cycle time. By reducing cycle time, production speed is increased, allowing for more parts for a given time. Cycle time can be reduced by the use of less stiffened materials or by the increase of the flow speed during the infusion. Cost reduction. This point can be solved by using less consumables, thus reducing also the preparation time. And finally, reduced carbon footprint. Less consumable, of course, equals less waste. So what the users want? They want a medium with high permeability in all directions. Thanks to that, resin speed will be increased, but also the resin network will be simplified, leading to time savings in preparation. Users also want a medium that does not reduce mechanical properties. If the medium stays in the laminate, it might as well contribute positively to the performance of the laminate. With all these points in mind, Chomarat has developed a special flow medium, which is called G-Flow. G-Flow is what we call a structural flow medium. Thanks to its innovative construction, G-Flow can be used as an internal flow medium and a reinforcement. The construction of G-Flow with continuous, aligned and non-crimped glass fiber also allows for high mechanical properties. G-Flow is finally also uncompressible, leading to consistent high glass rates. G-Flow is a structural, but it's also a very good flow medium indeed. If we look at this comparison of in-plane permeability between several reinforcements from Chomarat's portfolio. If we compare G-Flow with 2 other reinforcements, G-Ply BT 472, which is a typical product from the NCF range, with glass layers at 0 and 90 degrees, and also G-Weave 500S, which is a standard woven fabric from our portfolio. If we compare the 3 materials, which have all the same global constructions, fibers at 0 and 90 degrees, balanced in weight, we can see that the special weaving process of G-Flow allows for an in-plane permeability almost 100 times more than the other reinforcement. These reinforcements, such as NCF and woven fabrics, cannot be used alone in an infusion. That's why G-Flow has been developed, to allow for a full glass stacking to be properly infused and with high mechanical properties. So now I give the floor to Vincent, who is going to present you a real case study of G-Flow in the marine industry.
Thank you, Gaëtan, for this very clear presentation. In collaboration with Beneteau, Chomarat has developed G-Flow. Now, I'm going to present you a case story, which is the result of a collaborative work and a close partnership between the 2 companies, Beneteau and Chomarat. The challenge was to apply the G-Flow in a boat deck, with the objective of reducing the environmental impact, the consumption, and overall the cost. On the left, we have in blue the Infusion network before using a G-flow. On the right side, the Infusion network with G-flow, which is much more simple. The result is a global positive impact. 50% less accessory use for the network with the G-flow mean a positive impact and a positive ecological impact, and then 7% reduction in resin consumption, so time and cost saving. On this graph, we compare the flow, the permeability of the G-flow versus other flow media. The study has been done with the same glass ratio. This graph shows that the G-flow is an excellent flow media. Now, we show the technical properties of G-flow in interlaminar shear strength. Once again, the study has been done with a laminate having the same glass ratio. In blue, you have a laminate made only with standard NCF, the brand G-ply for Chomarat, plus an external flow media. In gray, you have a laminate with an internal flow media first generation, which was not at that time a 100% glass, but a mix between glass and thermoplastic. And then in green, you have the G-flow, the structural flow media 100% glass. This showed that a laminate done with G-flow brings the same properties than a laminate done with glass fabric NCF. And the G-flow can replace a layer of this reinforcement. This picture shows the infusion of a deck. We can say that thanks to the G-flow, in 40 minutes, we infuse a deck of around 50 square meters. As I explained previously, G-flow is a cost saving. In that case story, with G-flow, the cost of accessories by square meter is 100. That is 100. The cost with an internal flow media first generation is 120. And the cost with external flow media is 240, so means twice more expensive than G-flow. Due to this special construction, G-flow is easy to shape, and it keeps the shape. So G-flow is perfectly adapted to complex shapes. So to sum up the benefit, the advantage of the G-flow, high permeability, mechanical performances, less resin feed channels, easy to handle, and overall cost saving. G-flow has been developed in partnership with Beneteau. Today, more than 500 boats, over 15 models, have been produced with G-flow. And every year, this number of models and this number of boats increase. But G-flow can be also used in other markets, in other applications. For example, with our partner, distributor Gazeshim, we are starting a very important project in the transport for bus parts. G-flow can be also used in wind blades. To facilitate the loading, the dropping, we can also associate G-flow to a NCF or to a woven roving, stitch all together. Each project, each study is a specific one. It is why all our technical teams, as Gaëtan, is there to support you within your new development, your new project. Thank you for your attention, and now I give the ball to Jérôme Rénal.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much, Vincent, for this very clear introduction. So right now I will I will first introduce quickly Institut to the group, and then I will present the Composite Academy training solution, and I will try to demonstrate the fact that using this training solution, you can understand the physical phenomenon that you can face in the real industry, based on the example of the use of G-flow in the infusion. So Institut to the Group is a French company, it's a French group. We are roughly 1,000 people making 100 million euro turnover. And of course, our core business, the core business of the group is welding on metallic components. But very important, we have a composite division with more than 25 years of expertise and experience in RTM and infusion, meaning LCM technologies. And the point today to highlight is that IS Group is also the official distributor of the Composite Academy training solution that is developed by composite experts. Okay, so just focusing on the global pedagogical method that is behind the Composite Academy training solution, this is a real step-by-step training program that will guide you from the very beginning on the basis of the technology and material, and step by step you will grow up to quite technical and physical understanding. So you will increase your knowledge. Going through exercise, case study, application cases, and of course, every time to validate the level, we have some tests with question and answers. On the next slide, I will present you the first step, the first block of the training, that is what we call generalities. So generalities is in fact will give you all the root basis for the understanding of the process. Meaning we'll go through the generalities of the materials, the processes, of course the field of activity, the use of composite in the industry, with some example, with some exercise. And of course, every time we will handle the very important thematics that are highlighted today, like recycling, safety, and health when using composite materials. So this is for the generalities. For this first module, you will see on the next table that the duration of the course, if you can go to the next slide, please. We will go through materials, so introduction of materials, what kind of resins, the difference between resin, reinforcement, core materials. We will also have some demonstration of the application of composite and technologies in different businesses like aeronautics, wind energy, automotive, and other like sport and leisure. And we will go on the ground of the physicals that will lead the behavior of the materials, meaning mechanical, chemical, and so on. So we will handle all this information in order to give you and to give the trainee all the knowledge that will be useful in the career. For these generality modules, including, I would say, the what we call the focus in the technology and also infusion and RTM, but also recycling and health and safety and environment, we will have a duration of the course up to roughly 6 hours. So it's quite important. Everything is online, but it's really professional. And the way of teaching is also something that is brand new that I will just demonstrate after. If we switch to the other module, the module what we call the specific module, it will focus on RTM and infusion, and it will be split in 3 levels. So initiation, intermediate, and advanced. So every time we have a gate of knowledge, a gate of understanding, and you will get all the bases that will increase your level of expertise in the processes. Every time we have some theoretical courses, then you have some exercise, as you will see just after, and everything is tutored thanks to a specific tutor and some tools. So if we have this, you have a schematic of how the course is organized. Of course, you have the theoretical information. This is really similar to what you will get in generalities, but we will go a little bit more deeper. You will have some exercise. So this is the second very important point of the training. Some exercise will have to be done by the student, by the trainee. Of course, all the exercise will be presented through some videos, and the trainee will have to reproduce the exercise by his own in order to get some knowledge on the process. All around this, you have some tooling, so some tools, sorry, meaning the student, the trainee will use a specific software that will help him to go through the pre-simulation, permeability understanding, and everything. And all this is, I would say, managed by a tutor, a specific tutor that will follow the training during all the duration of the course and the training. Okay. Important is that, as I told you, you will have some specific equipment that will go with the training. It's not only online and virtual. The trainee will have to do some exercise. So 2 boxes will be delivered to the trainee. So the box 1 will include all the materials, basic materials, in order to perform the exercise. And this is in this box that you will get some samples and some predefined laminate using Chomarat reinforcement, and more precisely the G-flow. This is what we will focus on just after. And the second box, it is box 2. This is what we call the mini lab. Mini lab, it's optional box that will be delivered in order to give all the equipments in order to perform the exercise. For this specific training, as I told you, we have 3 levels. We start from 6 hours of theory. This is for the initiation. And if we go to the advanced level, so the advanced level, we include 10 hours of theory. So we'll go much more deeper in terms of understanding and phenomenon, plus 20 hours of practice. So this is the main difference, and this is the new element that is bringing on the table through the Composite Academy solution, is that we will have to perform some exercise on his own. So this is online program, even if you have a tutor, but it's hand-on training. We can now go to the, I would say, the trials that have to be done by the trainee, and this is on what I will explain and demonstrate the fact that this training can be used for industrial application, and thanks to this training, we will demonstrate the interest of using G-flow. Because on the package that are included in the training, as I told you, we have some laminate with and without G-flow. So the demonstration and all the exercise will be based on Infusion in this case. So this is, as you know, I would say the theoretical setup for Infusion realization. So meaning you have some fluid. So in this case, it's resin or oil in the case of the training. You will have the laminate with a plate, specific tooling plate for the infusion, and you have the vacuum system. And so if we go to the next slide, this is exactly the setup that we will get on the training. So in this slide, you have a demonstration of the implementation of the infusion process that will be done by the training, by his own, using all the equipment, and the tools that will be provided in the package. As I told you, and this is important today to demonstrate the impact of using G-Flow in the infusion. So included in the box, it's indeed box one, you will get several packs, meaning several pre-realized laminate that will be infused. So pack 6 is a pack that will include G-ply, so G-ply reinforcement with a G-flow layer, so one ply of G-flow. And the pack 2 is the same laminate without G-flow. So it will allow us to understand and demonstrate the impact of G-flow during the infusion. On the next slide, this is to explain you and to show you that in this training, we will start from the basics. So viscosity measurement, because the viscosity of the fluid, the resin, is very important in order to understand and to calculate the flow speed. Second step will be the permeability evaluation. So thanks to the equipment that is provided in the setup in the box for the training, you will be able to evaluate the permeability that will be used in the third window in the right, that will be used in the simulation. So everything are the tools that are provided, in the package of the training, and so you will be able first to perform the exercise, to do the trials, but also to simulate in parallel. That will give you the full understanding of what's happening and a cross-check with the simulation. So at the end, with this demonstration, we will demonstrate the impact of G-flow. In order to do that, we compare at several steps of the infusion, meaning at 100 millimeter, 300, 500 millimeter. We will compare the real infusion time with pack 6 with the G-flow and pack 2 without G-flow. On the real time to impregnate and the simulation. So on the image, you will see the result of the simulation.
Le propos, il est là, juste là, en face de son
And so,
salle de préparation.
below
Tu peux le remplir.
Can you switch off your microphone, please? Sorry. And below the image, you will get access to the result of the experiment, the real experiment that will be done by the training. So at the first stage, at 100 millimeter, we see that right away we have a difference in terms of impregnation time with and without G-flow. So few seconds with the G-flow that will give very high speed of impregnation. That is not the case without G-flow, so without flow media included in the laminate. On the other slide, we will do the same analysis at 300 millimeters, so we'll get a little bit more far away in the impregnation, and we still have the big difference either on simulation or on the experiment that is showing the deep impact in terms of impregnation speed provided by the use of G-flow. So something like one minute something with a G-flow and 14 minutes without G-flow. So this is a big difference, and we demonstrate this again thanks to the exercise, the trials, and the simulation. The last slide, just after this, will be at the end of the impregnation, because the plate that is provided in the tool is 550 millimeter. So at the end of the impregnation, again, the assessment is very easy. The G-flow provides very fast impregnation, and if we compare the filling time, 4 minutes, again, something like 50 minutes. At the level of the plate, we demonstrate what Vincent just mentioned before, is that using G-flow will provide a big speed in terms of impregnation compared to the use of pure laminate without flow media. So this is demonstrated thanks to this training that will give you all the basics, the understanding, but also that will give you the way to understand and demonstrate the impact of using a specific materials, either to increase the flow speed or to increase the different property in the laminate. So as a conclusion, I just want to mention that in this presentation, I try to demonstrate the fact that using Composite Academy training solution, you will have access, or you will give access to your employees or colleagues the understanding of the technology. In this case, it's Infusion, understanding of the basics, understanding of the physical phenomenon, but also that will help you to understand the impact of specific materials as G-Flow. In this case, there is no question, and the G-Flow is a great material to improve the flow front speed and the impregnation time. Thank you very much for your listening. Thanks.
Thanks, and dear speakers, for this presentation. We have one question in the chat room. Is G-Flow available only in 500 gram, or do you have other grammage, 200, for example? Vincent, perhaps?
Yeah, so today in the range, we have two G-Flow. One is 500 grams square meter, and the other one is 980 grams square meter. Today, we don't have a standard product under 500 grams square meter. Of course, we can work on a lighter G-Flow, 200, 300 grams square meter. But today, we didn't have this, this reference or this weight in our range.
The important point is to keep in mind that we have developed G-Flow for very good permeability reinforcement, and if we make it too light, it might not help the infusion process. But every customer, every part is different, so we could, of course, adapt our version of G-Flow depending on the application and the flow speed desired.
Okay, no more questions apparently. And just let a few minutes if someone wants to add another question. No, apparently no more questions, so we will close the webinar. You can contact Vincent Chauvet from Chomarat or Jérôme Rénal from ES Group. Another question pop up, sorry. So the question is, how is it physically explained the difference of permeability between G-Flow and the classic fabric 500 gram?
It's the weaving construction of G-Flow that makes it very permeable to the resin. A classic fabric 500 GSM will be more closed, and the G-Flow has a specific pattern of weaving, keeping all the permeability channels open. So if you have taken a look at the pictures of the G-Flow in the presentation, it looks very open, so it lets the resin flow very easily.
Another question, what kind of glass do we have to put both sides of the G-Flow to get a good flow?
What kind of
glass?
Glass.
I guess what you're asking is what kind of reinforcement should be put against the G-Flow. We have certain rules to properly use the G-Flow in order to keep all the permeability channels open. If you put unidirectional reinforcement directly against the 0 degree layer of side of G-Flow, it will block the permeability channels, for example. So the recommendation is that if you have the 0 degree side of the G-Flow on top of the laminate, you should put ideally reinforcement with fibers in another direction than 0 degree against the G-Flow. So all the permeability channels remain open. Best solution is to put against a G-flow a CSM, which will not penetrate the G-flow layer.
Okay, another question. Apart from boat wool, what other application do you target?
As I said, today we started the development of G-flow in the boat industry with one partner. We have other application in the boat industry also with other customers. Today, the target markets are the transport. And as I said, we have started a new project with a new customer in the transport for bus part in Infusion. We think also down in the transport, mainly in the railway transport, G-flow can be used because due to this construction, it can be an advantage with the filler resin. So we are targeting also this market. The wind market also can be interesting for G-flow in replacement of the standard CFM used in the wind industry. And thanks to the G-flow, we can bring higher mechanical properties compared to a standard CFM. But in fact, everywhere Infusion is present, G-flow can be used. There is no restriction on that.
I have another question. What should be the position of the G-flow on the laminate? Middle, top, or should be studied case by case? G-flow marks the surface of the gel coat after cure. It's a question.
So it's a case by case study, of course. You can put G-flow in the middle of your laminate. Ideally, the resin feed should be in direct contact with a G-flow. For example, if you want to make a transverse infusion, if you put the resin feed on top of the laminate and your first layer of reinforcement is not permeable at all, you will not get a good result, of course, because if you put G-flow underneath a very bad fabric in terms of permeability, the resin will never touch the G-flow layer. Depending also on the mechanical properties, you can put G-flow at different positions. If you have a very thick structure to infuse, for example, you can also put several layers of G-flow. Keep in mind that, for example, the G-flow 500L is 500 GSM. It can, in some cases, replace one layer of NCF. For example, the other example of G-ply BT 472. So if you remove one layer of NCF and replace it by one layer of G-flow, you will have roughly the same thickness and the same mechanical properties, but with a very much faster infusion speed. G-flow marks the surface of the gel coat. I would not recommend to put G-flow directly against the gel coat because since G-flow has very good permeability channels, you can have small resin pockets between all the glass fibers of the G-flow, and after curing, the shrinkage could be seen through the gel coat.
Okay, thank you. Apparently no more question. So I think that we can close the webinar. Just before leaving an information, a short survey will be sent to you in the following days. Thanks to take some time to answer it. Thanks to our speaker, and I wish you a nice day. Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, there is a last question, maybe.
A last one.
Yes. Is it? No problem. No problem. Is it possible to use the G-flow with another type of structural reinforcement? I'm not sure to really understand, but I guess if you have a thick structure, you want to infuse unidirectional NCF or a classic fabric You can also put some layers of G-flow in between your other layers of reinforcement. There is no issues with any compatibility. We have developed the G-flow with multi-compatible glass fibers, so it can be used with all kinds of different resin. And like Vincent said earlier, G-flow can also be used with the filled resin. For example, in the transportation markets, because of fire resistance application, the G-flow does not act as a barrier to the filled particle of the filled resin.
Thank you. I think now it's okay. Yes, it seems okay. So again, thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.